Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Rise and Roar Mastermind with Lisa Copeland. I'm your host. And today I want to talk to you about, I just had a very significant birthday. And, it really puts a lot of things into perspective. And I think when we figure out who we are and what we stand for, and I think about when I was in my 40s and in my 50s, like I didn't always know who I stood for and what I stood for. I wanted to stand for what other people wanted and what other people expected from me. I'm going to put the comments on here because I want to hear what y'all have to say about this. Um, and so it's been really freeing to kind of come into my own. And so about 4 years ago, I started the whole Lioness Coalition, the Lioness Project. It started out, guys, as just a keynote speech at 10X Ladies 4 years ago. And it was Lioness, not a lamb. And it was really important to me because I see so many women in doing what I do. I see them shrink. I see them shrink the older they get. I see them shrink when they get onto social media. And I'm speaking at a big women's event, and I pulled my speech because I wanted to kind of go over a little bit of it with you today as I talk about it. And then I want to give you guys and gals, and I hope if you know somebody over 50 years old or someone who's struggling with who they are and what their identity is, or somebody who just feels like they don't belong anymore, they're not young enough, they're not cool enough, I want to be the one today to encourage you, to tell you you are more than enough. You're exactly what the world is looking for. You have experience that nobody can take away from you. So I'm going to just read a little bit of my speech and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. But why women over 50 need to roar and not shrink. Somewhere along the way, culture told us that after 50, excuse me, guys, we should get quiet and fade into the background and let the younger ones take over. Guys, I am going to grab some water real quick and I will be right back. Oh my gosh. Okay, for those of you who are still with me, thank you so much. Ever since I got back from Italy, I've been had these terrible allergies and I should have had my water with me so I know that I would be okay to get through this. Mm. But I'm so passionate about helping women. About helping all women, right? All women. But women over 50, I think that I've just seen some of them lose their way. I've seen them lose their confidence. I've seen a lot of things happen, and I am just here to encourage you. The best days are ahead of you. So I started reading this earlier, and it's a speech I'm giving in 2 weeks at a women's conference. It's a big women's conference, about 1,500 women. But women over 50 need to roar and they need to not shrink. And somewhere along the way, culture has told us that after 50, we should be quiet, fade into the background, and let the younger ones take over. But I'm here to tell you that's a lie from the pit of hell. And it is because those younger ones need us. They need what we have to say. They need what we have to offer. We are not finished. We're fortified and we're walking through, we've walked through fire. We've raised children. We've built businesses and buried dreams, resurrected new ones, and stood in faith when no one else did. We are the generation that knows how to stand. And I'll tell you, after President Trump was elected, I told a very dear friend of mine, I said, it's time for me to write my next book. And my next book is about the fact that, so that was what, back in November. Um, I told my friend, I said, I'm tired as a conservative to have to be quiet. I'm tired of afraid of being canceled. I'm tired of people not wanting to do business with me or people not like me because of, my stands. And so at that point I thought, okay, it's time to write my next book. But God kind of closed that door on me. He's reopened it now after the death of Charlie Kirk. But I'm not going to get into all that today. But that book is finished, for the record, and now it's sitting with an editor. And so you add that to a big birthday, a big milestone birthday, and you add that to what's going on in the world, and you add that to we've got a whole generation that's just paralyzed in fear. They're terrified. They're afraid to turn on the news. They don't know what's happening on the planet. Like, they're looking to us. They're looking to the women that are over 50 years old, that we have survived some things. We've been through some tough times. We've seen some battles. We've seen bad things, and we've all come out on the other side of it one way or the other. We've seen disease, and we've seen death, and we've seen job loss, and we've seen people that we never ever thought would betray us, that they've betrayed us. And so that's why we are so important to this next generation. And if we shrink and we go backwards, then that does not help that generation. And if there's somebody out there that you're thinking of right now, share this out. Share this out on your social media. A lioness doesn't apologize for her strength. She protects her pride. She leads her family, and she hunts with strategy, and she rests in confidence. God, I love that. You think about the lionesses, and you think about the lion, and you think about what happens in Africa. So there's one lion, and there's anywhere between 7 and 12 lionesses. Do you know the lionesses never ever leave? They never leave the pride. They raise each other's children. They even nurse each other's children. They protect the lion, amongst other things. And all the lion does is sleep and have sex. That's all the lion does. She does the hunting. She does everything. When the lionesses are done with the lion, they either run him off or they kill him. True story. So, but the women always stay together. And there's something to say for that. And I think that that's what's missing in today's society, is that women don't stay together. And I think about my pride, my women, my friends that I've been friends with for 10, 20, 25 years. I would do anything for them. And I know they would do anything for me. But putting together a group of people like that, there's always a sifting process, right? There's always people you think that are like-minded or you think should be involved, and then something happens and you sift through them. And so sometimes it's just for a reason or a season. Guys, I did not want to cancel today, but I am on the struggle bus when it comes to my throat. I am so sorry if you've got to sit and listen to me get through this. Anyways, so I will keep it short today, probably. But some people are in your life for a reason or a season. And that's what a lioness knows. Because after you get to a certain age, you know who those people are. And just because someone's in your life for a season, that's okay. That doesn't make them bad. That doesn't make them not worthy. They're there for a reason or a season. And then you've got what I call your lifers, and those are the ones that are just with you forever. You don't need permission to shine. You don't need approval to lead. You've already earned your stripes, and now it's time to step into your roar. Because silence isn't humility, it's missed legacy. Silence is not humility, it is missed legacy. Are you being quiet? Are you standing on the sidelines? Are you stepping back? Are you afraid to roar? Are you afraid to give your opinion? Are you afraid that it's insignificant? I'm here to tell you, you're more important to this ecosystem in the world that we live in today than you've ever been before in your life. It's what I'm here to encourage you about. Today, I challenge you to rise up. I challenge you to reclaim your voice and stop comparing yourself to those who are 30 and start celebrating who you've become at 50 and beyond. Comparison is absolutely, it'll steal all your joy. It will. It is evil. Comparing yourself in the job, comparing yourself to somebody younger, comparing yourself to somebody thinner, comparing yourself to somebody more wealthy, comparing yourself, whatever it may be. But as women, we struggle with that. That's something that we tend to do. Oh, she's thinner than I am. She's wealthier than I am. She's got better clothes than I do. She's got whatever it may be. And then you start to diminish yourself. And I'm here to tell you, you were made in God's image and you're perfect. But I want you to start living it. And that's why, before I had to get off a few minutes ago from my coughing attack, is that everything that you have to offer is so unique to you. And I see so many women think, okay, well, I'm 50 now, I'm 60 now, I'm 70 now. And what I have doesn't matter anymore. I'm not relevant. I don't know AI. I'm not great on the computer. I'm not great in technology. I'm getting passed over at work. Well, that's a big mistake, by the way, by your employers, if that's what's happening to you. But part of why it happens is because you let it happen. Because you are not standing in your power, standing in your strength, and using your work. So today I'm going to challenge you to rise up and reclaim your voice. You're not less than, you are more seasoned, you're more powerful, and you're more called than ever before. And think about that. You are more called to do today. I know I am so much wiser than I was 5 years ago. Why? Oh, because I've had people betray me. I've had business experiences. I've seen death. I've seen illness. Like, I've seen so many things in the last 5 years that I'm better for it today. And I think one of the reasons I'm better for it today is because I know it's survivable. I know you can survive whatever it is. Now, I personally use my faith as a survival tool. You see, because I believe that God doesn't give us anything that we can't get through. I mean, I just believe that. I believe that until we take our final breath, that we have to keep fighting. And I hope that my message helps people. And I hope when I lead people and the people that I'm with, I hope I live that and I walk my talk. I really try to. Hey, Scott Simons, I see you. Tiffany, I see you. Damon, I see you. Michelle, I see you. Denise, I see you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My lioness is so important to me. And that's what I started to tell y'all. That's what happens when you get a little bit older, like you start forgetting. It was created as Lioness, Not a Lamb, and it was for the first 10X ladies that I spoke at. So that was 4 or 5 years ago. And I want to just tell the women in the audience, lionesses rise up and lambs get slaughtered. Well, I have refined that message, and I've taken that message into everything, to the point where I've even named my real estate company the Lioness Real Estate Group. Right? Because our job is to protect each other. Our job is to protect our clients. Our job is to protect our industry, to protect our ethics, all of that, right? So everything about the lioness is what needs to happen, right? And it's exactly what we need to hear and to know and to feel and to walk through every single day. And so, sweet Nicole just brought me, guys, look at this. She brought me these. She hears me in here struggling. Oh my gosh, y'all. Anybody live in Texas? Give me a 1 over there. If you live in Texas, it has just been brutal the last couple of days. So I want you to know that if you're 50 years old, you're 60 years old, if you're a man or a woman, look at the guys, my good friends, Damon and Scott, our story is not over. It's really just beginning. It is just beginning. We have so much knowledge and I'm going to tell you, I think that we are in better shape than we've ever been in, thanks to biohacking and all the things that we do. We're in better shape. So imagine having a body that's in the shape of a 40-year-old, but the mind but a body's got the wisdom of a 60-year-old or a 50-year-old, and the things that we've been through and the things that we've survived. And so, I just want you to know, and I believe this, and if you follow me, I want you to live this, is that you are not finished. You're not finished. I want you to be fortified. I want you to walk in your power every single day. And I get so many emails. I've got about 900 real estate agents on my team, most of them women, not all, but a lot of women. And they send me messages all the time. I'm struggling. There's another agent out there, they're younger than me. They're spending more money than I am. I'm like, you are your superpower. You are the only one that God made to be you. So you've got to walk in that power, but you've got to fortify that power. What does that mean? You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to get healthy. You've got to get your mind healthy. I've told you guys, I'm probably at over 260 books now. in the last 2.5 years. Now, I do a little bit of a cheat. I listen to them on Audible because I'm in the car all the time. So how important is that to fortify my mind? Why is that important? Because now I'm interesting. I've got something to talk about. I can talk about politics. I can talk about history. I can talk about important people in history. I can talk about our country. I can talk about the stock market. I can talk about cryptocurrency. Like, I've trained myself so that I don't ever become irrelevant. I don't ever want to be irrelevant. I don't want people not to care what I have to say. I want to always contribute to society, to my family, to my business, to my clients. Okay, so this is not something that just happens, my lionesses. It's something you have to commit to do. So what are you going to do to commit? So here's 5 reasons why you should never shrink and you should always roar. Number 1 is that you've already fought and won the battles. So many of you have been through so many hard-fought battles. You've got the scars, but you don't tell the stories. And the story of your victory through that battle is so important. So other people, because it gives other people faith and hope. And I'll tell you, you'd be surprised how many times people have said to me, oh, I watched you do this, or I watched you, and I'm like, I don't even know you. So just know that people are watching you, even if you don't know them, they're watching the battles. So the more that you share, my lionesses, the more that you can encourage people, the more you could show people the battles, show them the scars, show them how you had victory through those. I think about 30-year-old me and some of the stuff I went through. Like, I didn't handle it near as well as I would handle it today. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the life experience, and I didn't have the skill set. The world needs mature strength. Culture often celebrates youth, but wisdom is the new superpower. And women over 50 carry discernment, courage, and truth. Silence is not humility, it's missed legacy. Oh, I think about the older generation, 70s and 80s, and they were taught to be quiet. Ladies are quiet and they're demure and they should not speak out. And I really believe that's why we have not had a woman president. We see a lot less women in leadership roles. We see whether it's in my business, automotive business. It's because we start getting into our own heads. We start believing what the world is telling us, instead of creating your own narrative, right? And sharing your experiences. There's nothing more that I like to do. I've got very dear friends. They just become some of my very dearest friends, and they're over 80 years old. They were clients of mine. I moved them up here to where I live, and I love nothing more than to sit down and just talk to them. They are the most fascinating, well-traveled, well-versed, super smart, super with it. He reads a lot of books, and she's just the coolest woman on planet Earth. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But to sit down and talk to them and get their perspective. I do it all the time. In fact, they're on my list to call today, just to check in with them. Hey, what's going on? How are you guys doing? Talk about world events. I don't know. There's just so much cool stuff you get when you find people that are older that are willing to share. And I want to be that person that's willing to share. Fear is the enemy of purpose. The enemy wants you to believe you're too old, tired, or too late. God says, for such a time as this. That's Esther 4:14, for those of you that don't know. Now is your assignment, not your retirement. For such a time as this. Now is your assignment, not your retirement. And I hope that if you follow me or you're on my real estate team, whatever that looks like, that you are going to accept that assignment today. That you are going to shine, that you are going to rise up, and that you're going to roar. You're going to roar with power, you're going to roar with passion, and you're going to roar with purpose. What is the purpose? Why do you do what you do? Number 1, right? Do you believe that what you do matters? I say that about every speech that I give. Do you believe that what you do matters? And number 2, I ask my audience, what would you do if money was not an object? What would you do? So I've thought about that a lot myself. What would I do And I would probably, if money was like, if I didn't think I had to earn a living or whatever, I mean, I would definitely start some sort of charity for single moms. That's such a passion of mine, and help them buy houses, help them build wealth, whether it's from schooling, some sort of school that would be free, that would be relevant, that would really just, they don't need to learn anything other than how to save, how to invest. But it would be free. We would have scholarships to help them buy their first property, because and it's not just because I'm in real estate. It's because I believe that's the only way to build wealth in this country, unless, of course, you get super lucky in the stock market, you have a big exit, or your family's wealthy. But the average person like me, and like most of you that will watch this video today, the only real money that I've ever made in my life, real money, has been in real estate. Sometimes I got lucky, and sometimes I made some very strategic moves, like this building that I'm sitting in. That was strategic. I bought the building because of what I've learned being in the real estate industry. So that's what I would do. But I would challenge you, write down, what would you do if money didn't matter? And ask yourself, do you believe that what you do today matters? Does it matter? I believe my job matters. I help families build generational wealth in real estate. And then I've got almost 900 real estate agents that I pour into every week, that I want to my soul to be successful. I think that will be my legacy, is that, hey, I worked with Lisa, and because of her leadership and all of our leadership, I was able to do more, make more, be more. Do more, make more, be more. I love that's so important to me when somebody joins my organization. So I want to give you the 5 takeaways today. And I totally apologize for the beginning and sweet Nicole bringing in all my stuff. She brought me hot tea. Look at this. She made me tea, which I'm going to take right now. Oh my gosh. But that's what happens when you have great people around you, right? You take care of each other. And that's what we do as lionesses. Imagine living with 9 other women, nursing their children, taking care of their children, hunting together, protecting each other, and you never ever split up. The lionesses never ever split up. It's the lion that goes away. Just saying. So 5 takeaways today. 5 things I want to challenge you with. Number 1, I want you to reclaim your voice. I want you to decide. I want you to say today, you know what? I'm not going to play small anymore. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to keep my opinions to myself. I'm not saying out there and be rude or whatever, but you might think of some of the stuff I said today was rude. I don't know, but I'm not going to back down. There will be people that watch this today, and they're going to be like, I hate her. Who does she think she is, telling me that I'm not enough? I'm not telling you you're not enough. I am telling you to be more. Because I know women in this space, and I know so many don't play to their potential. I see it every single day. I work with them, they work with me, and I am constantly having to say, it's time to step up, it's time to do more. You are enough. And that's what I'm telling you today if you're watching this. Number 2, I want you to stand in your authority. You're not less than. You're seasoned, you're strong, you're chosen for leadership and for this moment in time. Ladies, we live in a really, really scary world. You cannot turn on the news. You cannot get onto social media. You cannot look at the feeds. It is awful, awful. I don't know what I would do or how I would cope if I didn't have a higher power, if I didn't have Jesus, and if I didn't have a very strong prayer life, and if I didn't have all of that and faith, knowing that this is not all there is on planet Earth. I really don't know how I would cope. But I know that there's somebody out there watching this, and you don't have any of that. You don't have that peace in knowing. And if you don't, I want you to find that. I want you to find somebody. I want you to continue tuning in. I want you to go find a good Bible-based church. I want you to go find a prayer partner. I want you to go find an accountability group. This world is not, you're not meant to be here alone. You're not meant to battle what's happening on planet Earth alone. I don't want that for you. I want you to have other people to help you fight those battles. I really, really want that for you. I want you to reject comparison. Stop measuring yourself by youth or perfection. You bring wisdom that no 25-year-old can replicate. So here's a little goal for my 40 and over, 50 and over, 60 and over, 70 and over. Think about yourself at 25 years old. Think about yourself at 30 or at 40. Think about how much more you know today than you did back then. Think about the battles that you have fought and conquered and won. Think about the people that have passed through your life. Think about the people that you want to bring into your life. Think about the people you want to pour into. Think about your kids. Think about your grandkids. It is not the time to be quiet. It's not the time to be silent. See, society again, they're going to tell us, be quiet, don't say anything. Someone might get offended. Someone might not want you to, talk about Jesus or talk about your country, talk about President Trump, or talk about our military, or talk about Charlie Kirk. I mean, God, I've heard it all. I had people unfriend me because I was devastated over Charlie Kirk. Like, really? I wouldn't unfriend somebody. Anyways, this is not what this is for. But I'm just saying, we live in a world that is in perpetual offended. So what does that do to us? What does that do to us? It usually makes us quiet. We're not going to say what we believe. We're not going to say what we think. We're not going to stand up to tyranny. We're not going to stand up in our schools sometimes. We're not going to stand up in our neighborhoods. We're not going to stand up on social media because, God forbid, you're going to offend somebody, and God forbid somebody may not like you. And at our age, we don't want that. We would rather be quiet. Well, I am here to challenge you. It is time for you to roar. It is time for you to stand for your truth, not my truth, because my truth and your truth might be two totally different things. Our values might be different. Our beliefs might be different. And none of the Lioness movement is about you buying into my beliefs. Like, I am not a dictator or a cult leader. I am just somebody that I know that God's given a pretty good backbone to, meaning I can take the hits. And I have taken plenty of them, trust me, in my life. I've lost friends over it, guys. Think about the first time President Trump ran for president. I've lost friends over it. I'm like, why am I losing you as a friend? Because I'm excited that an outsider is coming in, that somebody who is not an inside politician. Like, why can't we be friends anymore? I don't get it. But it's happened. People don't like my stances on things because I'm highly conservative. That's okay. Doesn't mean we can't be friends. I want to tell you that it's time for you to take a stand for what you believe. You need to look around. Is something going on in your schools? Is something going on in your neighborhood? Is something going on in your community? Whatever that may be. But you've got the knowledge, the wisdom, and the discernment to handle it, to speak up. You've got the experience to speak up. You don't have to alienate people. You just don't. But it's okay to give your opinion. And when I tell you, when someone like me got really quiet the last 4 years for fear of whatever, I don't even know. I mean, I had friends losing their social media accounts, getting shut down, like all of it. And I was like, wow. And that's when I went to Sharon Lechter and I said, I want to write this book. That was after President Trump got reelected. And then it was kind of quiet in my spirit. And then it got reenacted because I look at a young man like Charlie Kirk and I'm like, he gave it all. He gave it all for what he believed. And not that I want to give it all for what I believe, don't get me wrong. But I do know that when events like that happen, that people, what am I trying to say? People get more fearful, right? It's more fearful. It's like, God forbid you go out and you talk to these, have civil discourse is what I would call it, Sandra Day O'Connor, but have conversations with people and have conversations with people that you don't agree with. Can I tell you some of the best conversations that I ever have are the ones with people that I don't agree with. Excuse me. They just are. I mean, it's almost boring to talk to people that you guys are always on the same page. But I can defend what I believe, and the people that I talk to can defend what they believe. And a lot of times we just have to agree to disagree. Not all of us are Christian. Not everyone who watches this is Christian. You might be Muslim. You might be Jewish. Whatever. That's okay. It's your higher power. It's your God. You need to be connected to whatever that is. That should be your main fuel source. Is your higher power. That should be your main fuel source. If you can start there every morning. Oh my God, Nicole, I know you're watching this. God bless you on this team. God, does anybody else suffer from these allergies, Texas? All right. So my last one I said was reject comparison. Number 4, live out loud. Be bold. Be bold. Wear your faith boldly. Pursue your dreams boldly and love boldly. This is your second act of purpose. I kind of got weird when my birthday happened, and I told my husband, I'm like my life is over 2/3 done unless I'm some sort of miracle. And all those 10x supplements I've been taking for the last 4 years, unless they can really make me live to be 100, I'm like, I'm kind of on the back end of this thing. And I've never said that before, y'all. I've never felt like that. And then I had to get into my own head. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, Lisa. I'm in better shape than I've ever been in. Probably not ever, but definitely in the last 10 years. I can work out harder. I take care of myself. I pay attention to what I eat. I pay attention to a lot of things I didn't used to pay attention to because I thought I would live forever. And so I was like, oh no, I got to get out of that. Right? Age is a state of mind. And then where your higher power comes in is what I believe is that I'm only here temporarily anyways. And if I'm here temporarily, then I need to make the biggest impact I can make. I need to change the world. And I'm saying this because I want everyone who's watching this to feel the very same way. Say to yourself, I want to change the world. Because our world is really screwed up. And you might change the world just by changing it in your neighborhood, in your city, in your school, in your Sunday school class, in your synagogue, in your church, in your neighborhood, in your own house. Boom. Some people in some houses need their worlds changed. They need their families straightened up. Their kids need to be told the truth. The kids, I've seen a lot of, young people growing up on these just woohoo crazy tracks. And the parents are afraid to say anything because they don't want to be alienated. I've got friends that are like, I don't want to say anything to my grown kids or to my grandkids because then I won't get invited over. No, let me tell you something. The world we live in, now is not the time to retreat. Now you're going to have to pick your words. You're going to have to pick your battles. You're going to have to pick how you entered into the conversations. Thank God I've trained my family enough that they know Lala's going to say it. Regardless, Lala just might show up a specific rupture. It just is what it is. But that is not for everybody. I get that. But is not the time to retreat. Our kids need to be saved from this mess of a world. Our grandkids need to be saved. That is the power of being 50 and over. Because we have earned the right to say what we're going to say. Now, with that right, you have to have the respect on the other side. Right? And so going in and blasting them and saying, okay, you're living this terrible life, you're a horrible person, that would not be the way to approach it. But I spend a lot of time in my family. Our family spends a lot of time talking about what's going on, world events, what we think about it. And true story, we don't always agree. I am definitely the most conservative one. My husband could probably be a little more conservative than me. That's probably true, but he's not as vocal about it as I am. I'm absolutely the most conservative one in our family. I just am. I've just lived long enough to know that all this other craziness doesn't work. It's not sustainable. And so it's just really important. My lionesses, my friends, being 50 or 60 or 70, you are in your prime. You are ready to rise up and you are ready to take, I think that we're the only ones that can save what's going on, I love that a lot of our cabinet today is women. and they're older. My friend Judge Janine, I think she's like 80, and she's our AG. Um, but most of President Trump's cabinet, most of them are women, a lot of women, but they're all over 50 years old, right? They've got their stripes. They've been through it. Like them or not like them, I'm not here to sell you on these people, but I am here to tell you that, when you look at women leaders and you look at women of prominence, they are older. And it's funny because in the United States, women that are older are kind of discounted, where in Europe, they're considered the most beautiful women, and, beautiful things in the world. A 60, 70, 80-year-old woman is in France is absolutely considered like a gem if she's, if she's still vital and things like that. And here, women just, women self-sabotage though. And I don't want any of you to self-sabotage. So, I'm going to go over one. I'm sorry, number 5. Number 5 was join the pride. You're not alone. I want you to link arms with other lionesses. I do this every Thursday at noon Central. My email is just lisa@lisacopeland.com. I've got more to come on this in January. I've really worked on it intently. I got the book written pretty quick. I've got really incredible stories in there, stories of people I've run across for the years. And, lots of my friends, because as I was writing it, I was like, I've got some of the most amazing friends on planet Earth. Like some of the battles they have fought, some of the things they've been through, how they've come through on the other side, people that I've been lucky enough, privileged enough to meet over the years. You guys who follow me, I get to get into some of these rooms. I get to get to some of the tables. But I didn't get there because I was quiet, or I wasn't willing to pick a side, right? You're not going to sit in a room with Laura Trump if you haven't picked a side. So is that going to alienate half the people that know me? Yes, unfortunately. I hate that. I hate it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it is. And so I would tell you, if you're ready to meet some of these people, if you're ready to get into the room and get to the table, you got to pick a side. Whatever side that is, and I'm not saying Republican or Democrat or anything, but you have to pick a side that you're willing to stand with. You have to have an opinion. You have to have a purpose. You have to be able to stand up for what's right and what's wrong. And again, what's right to me and right to you could be two different things. 1,000,000%. I'm not here to sell you on my ideology. I'm just here to tell you a lioness will stand. She will roar. She will fight back. She will protect her cubs. And I think we were all born for such a time as this. All right, everybody. I love you. I will see you next week. I've got a really cool guest next week. I'm going to surprise you with her, though. The ultimate lioness. All right, everybody. Love you guys. Bye.